PepsiCo's fizz has not gone flat and it can still be a refreshing choice for your portfolio. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, jumping right in here, PepsiCo did not lose its fizz and the Dividend King continues delivering for investors. Thomas, what are some of the quick highlights from their Q4 report that investors might care to know about? What's sticking out to me right away here is that the dividend increase, what was it, 7%?
Yeah, it was right around there, I think. In my notes, where'd it go? Dividend plus 7%. Yep. So the highlight of the report is revenue was a little weak. It was below consensus estimates. We don't really want to see that. But within that, the margins expanded and earnings grew. So that's what we really want to see right now. We're still in this kind of post-pandemic normalization with a lot of companies. Consumer staples are certainly trying to get normalized after all the inflation issues we've had. But the fact they're able to sustain and grow their margins is a big deal right now.
Okay, something else that caught my attention was PepsiCo being considered undervalued relative to its historical norms. So what opportunities does this type of thing present for investors?
Well, it's a good time for PepsiCo investors to add to their positions. I mean, it's not really a cheap stock relative to the broad market. It's not really necessarily cheap relative to all of the staples. At 23 times earnings, that's kind of in the middle of the range, but it's a few handles shy of its traditional historical norms. So it is a value relative to itself. Investors that get in now will be getting Pepsi at a cheaper price than usual with a higher yield, with an expectation for some growth and some capital appreciation, a price multiple expansion over the next few years.
I can't, Thomas put it very well. I don't personally own Pepsi, but I own a few dividend stocks that I consider to be kind of anchors in my personal portfolio. And I've always looked at opportunities like this as, these are the opportunities for you to kind of, if you already have a position, these are the times where you can kind of nibble at it and add a little bit more when you have these little dips that are kind of opportunities. You don't get these very often. So when you get them, they're nice times to jump in and take care of that.
Okay,
That's
so
exactly right.
there was a volume decline in food and beverage segments. What is PepsiCo doing to address these challenges, though? And I know it was also mentioned that Quaker Foods saw significant weakness here. So, how is PepsiCo kind of using its strategy to bolster growth and margin across its portfolio?
Well, PepsiCo is managing costs. It's also staying focused to its core growth strategy. And on that segment details, Quaker was the only one to decline. All the other segments grew. So we have growth across segments. We have some pricing offsetting a little bit of a volume decline. The volume declines are really associated with that post-pandemic letdown, normalization within the market. People just aren't at home snacking as much as they used to be. And when they're at work, they're working the way they're supposed to be. So moving forward, Quaker Oats should return back to growth. It might not happen this fiscal year, but that's in the cards, and the rest of the business is still growing.
And what are the analysts saying right now?
Well, I just noticed this morning, Citibank gave the stock an upgrade. They went from a neutral to a buy, price target of 195. So I think that fits in really well with some of the stuff Thomas was putting in his article.
Yeah, right. The analysts have been pretty supportive. The first one I saw, what came out immediately after that, was from Wedbush. They reiterated, like Chris is saying, all the post-release action is favorable and positive. The price targets are above consensus. So Pepsi may correct some now, but it really is looking like a pretty good buying opportunity.
Okay, so considering the mixed pre-market trading and the stock's position that above critical support levels, what insights can you provide for our viewers about navigating the current market conditions? Are there specific signals or maybe trends that investors should be watching for in the near term?
Well, yeah, there is a significant trend in PepsiCo. Let me pull up a chart and we'll look at that. So you can see here, this is a monthly chart of PepsiCo. We don't normally look at charts that are this long term in scope, but Pepsi's chart is pretty significant. You can see that it's had a pretty sustained uptrend for the last 30 years. That's because of its diversification strategy, its growth, its dividend growth. You can see that it'll hit a peak and correct, but then the rally will resume. We hit peaks and corrections, and we got a peak right here, pretty far elevated above the trend line. And so now we're correcting again. But unless you think that Pepsi's in trouble or that the global economy is going to contract, people are going to stop drinking sodas, there's no reason to think that Pepsi will break this trend or this support level right here. I would target this region as a good place to buy the stock. I think over the next 2 or 3 years, we'll see it resume this uptrend and move up to new all-time highs.
Thanks for showing us that chart, Thomas. To our viewers, we will be taking a look at PepsiCo again right here on our channel. So stay tuned for updates. And of course, any other stocks you want us to cover, let us know down in the comments. Until next time, thanks, guys.